Welcome to pattern making class. This is Annette Julie, and today we are working on our graduated darts here in the shoulder. We just did this in the last video, and now we're going to put on the seam allowance in the shoulder and fold the darts. You can see what they look like. So I had gone up about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. I've gone up from this slash line, and I drew a straight line to have all the dart tips lined up there, and then I went up about 1/2 inch from each dart tip to mark where the drill hole would be. And then here on the front, I've trimmed away a little bit, the back I've trimmed away a little bit of paper. Now we're going to go ahead and fold on that line I created, and we're going to fold each dart. Okay, but there's a lot of fabric here, and maybe we'll make one dart a cutaway dart. Whatever it is, we want all that fabric going away from our face, down the armhole, down the side seam. So the darts are always going away from your face, down the side seam, and here in the front, this dart excess would also go towards the side seam there. Let's go ahead and pinch and lift and place on the dart leg that you drew. And you can take some tape, make it like magic tape by putting it on your hand there so it can come up, not rip your pattern. Just put a little piece of tape right there. You can put it above or down. Take your next dart leg that you drew, crease it, lift it onto the next dart leg. Let's take a little piece of tape, tape that down. Pick up that dart, place it on the next dart leg, make some magic tape here, and tape that down. We've got one more dart. That looks good. Now, if that shoulder's coming out naturally a little bit curved, that's totally fine, okay? If you were to go ahead and straighten like this, it could affect the shoulder shape. So let's just keep it that nice curve. I'm just going to go ahead and true, which means adding a little bit to one, taking a little bit off the other, and finding the most accurate representation of that full line. Okay, this is looking pretty good. Now, without cutting the piece underneath, you can go ahead and cut that shoulder out, and it's going to show you what it looks like when we open it up. A little bit of magic tape here. I'm hoping it's magic. Yeah, that came up. And the rest of it, I taped it in the shoulder area so it was removed. That looks great. There's our shoulder without seam allowance. You could keep all these darts in. The pickup, you could also remove them, and I'm going to show you an example of a cutout dart. On this last dart here, I'm going to give it 1/2 inch seam allowance. 1/2 inch seam allowance. Here it is there. We're going to go ahead and cut the dart away. This dart is a cutout one, and the other darts on the shoulder, we would keep the dart pickup in and sew it like so. Let's grab another piece of paper, and we're going to put seam allowance on this pattern. I was just dropping the neckline down a little bit. It seemed a little bit tight. There we go. That looks better. I just took a little bit off the front there. Now we're going to add our seam allowance. And grab yourself a bigger piece of paper. I'm going to roll this out. Here's my roll of pattern paper. I'm going to roll it back. And I'm going to make a pattern that has seam allowance. Looks good. Save all those scraps of paper because you can use them for repairing your patterns and doing slash and spread. And this is a great example of slash and spread where we slashed up and closed the waist dart and spread open the 4 shoulder darts. Let's start with the grain line on this new piece of paper. I'm going to place that pattern down matching to center front. And if you don't have pattern weights, certainly a tape dispenser works really well, or little cans. Let's go ahead and tape the pattern down. And if you don't have one big piece of paper, you can use your scraps and tape them on the edge and put the seam allowance on that way. Also, to save tape, you can go ahead and split it down the middle. But I'm more interested in saving time right now. So let me tape down my waist. And now in my armhole and shoulder. Use a lot of tape with paper patterns when you're manipulating. If you're doing slash and spread or creating new style lines like princess seams or umpire style lines. Great. Now we have everything on here. We can go ahead and pop on our seam allowance. So as said in the prior video, this is a rather tight neck. If I was making a new design, I would drop this down or open it up. And this will come in future videos. So we'll leave that neckline alone for now. And we're going to give ourselves 1/2 inch seam allowance on our shoulder. And on our neckline, 1/4. And this is a woven pattern. And I prefer my students pattern make in pencil so that when you have a mistake you can erase it. But I like to pattern make in ink so my students can see my pattern. We're adding the seam allowance here in our shoulder seam. And this is 1/2 inch. And like I said, the neckline was 1/4. In one of my future videos, you can watch neckline styling or adding collars and facings and plackets and all kinds of good stuff. Let's go down to the armhole. And I'm rotating around and adding a 1/2 inch by a little short line in the curve area. Then I'll come back with my curve ruler, preferably a long hip curve, and then we can draw the full armhole with the seam allowance now and connect those short lines. We'll flip the ruler, going the other direction to finish the curve at the bottom. And then we're going to continue on with our 1/2 inch seam allowance at the side seam. And our waist, if we were joining this to a skirt or a waistband, we would use the 1/2 inch I'm using right now. Again, some short lines. Then we'll take our curve ruler and come and smooth everything out. Now here at our center front, we could take another piece of paper and put it underneath a large piece. And when we fold it, we would have, a fully symmetrical pattern. Or in the front here, you could make a fold back placket, or you could add a separate facing. Many different ideas. So this was our graduated darts to the shoulder. This is with the seam allowance, your name, the date, and this starts with our basic 1 dart bodice to the graduated darts on the shoulder. And then we have an example here of the cutaway dart, and then the rest of these darts you would fold and keep that fabric inside. That's your choice as a designer. And this is Annette Julie, and I look forward to you watching one of my next videos. Have a great day!